Control the Civitas Universe. Mind the ion. Control the Civitas Universe.
Okay, can I be heard? Can I be heard? Can I be heard? Hi guys, how's it all going? Hope you're all well. Yo, flippin' heck. Wow, good, loud and clear, perfect. Oh my god, welcome back. Welcome back, guys. Hey, Paz, whoa. David the Magician from the prairies is here, joining us today. Wow, wonderful. Folly's here as well, fantastic. Oh, and we've got everybody here. This is great. Oh, it's so good to see you all. So good to see you guys. Welcome back. Wow. Long time no see, absolutely. Goodness me, what a crazy 2020 we're having. I don't want to go into the kind of cliche stuff that everyone seems to be talking about at the moment. Not even, I hate to say cliche stuff. I guess it's the most common stuff that we constantly keep hearing all the time. Let's not dwell on it. That's my kind of take on things. Let's just talk about the future and how great it is to be back, sort of. I've been great, guys. Everything's going good here. The situation in the UK from Lorenzo, we don't know what's going on. I'm so gonna start talking about it now. Regional areas are in partial lockdown. We're looking to go potentially to a 10 p.m. curfew because everybody keeps having house parties. London is nuts. Like where I live up in Islington, like beyond that is like Hackney and Stoke Newington, and everybody's having parties. Like people that are like young, sort of like young 20s, sort of early 20s and stuff, and we're just like, guys, please, we don't want to do this again. It's crazy. Almost lost my entire business at the very beginning of lockdown. No one knew what the hell to do. We migrated to an online model, and that's worked really well. We've had all sorts of weird and wonderful things happening. It's been weird, wonderful, bad, whatever. It's just one of those things. But let's not dwell on it. Yes, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's so good to see you all. It's so good to see everyone in the chat room here. We've got 13 viewers right now. That's brilliant. I wanted to sort of talk today about the future, about the present and the future, about the past as well, about the sort of things that we learned from the Kickstarter and stuff. But here's a few things on the list of what I want to chat about on this particular slide. So why the Civitas Universe series of games, why it exists, a particular dedication to a certain group of people, the present goals, the past lessons, and our future plans. So the top 2 points in this kind of join together. They join together in such a way that is incredibly dear to my heart. A good few years ago, I set off on a journey that was really quite crazy. It took me, I would say it took me about a year and a half to plan on paper, and then after that, it's still being implemented now, and it's had to. I'm kind of being cryptic on purpose, but it's that people needed to be involved at the beginning of this idea that I had for a particular type of experience, and that experience has grown. Sometime at one point it was very big, and now it's kind of contracted down to a bunch of individuals that I love dearly, and it's great to see so many of you guys in the chat room today. You all know what I'm talking about, and lockdown and stuff, I'm getting emotional talking about it, but like being on lockdown and everything, and like not being able to have another Pinewood day for the moment anyway, and just the way that things have been, like with in terms of work myself and in terms of getting things sorted together, it's just really made me realize what matters, and you guys absolutely matter, and I decided to make the Civitas Universe, the Civitas version of games, because I received a message from somebody on an orange disc, someone that goes by the name of T. They said to me that I needed to make it in order to help some of his friends find their way back home. I don't know if you guys remember this. Dan, I don't know if you recall me messaging you about this, but this was something that happened back in 2018, early 2018, I think it was. Yep, Dan. Yeah, and I started the process of creating Civitas Nihilium and then the Civitas series of games with this understanding that I wanted to give these people, these really, 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 really special people, I wanted to give them something that they could have physically, and they could have in a way that they could I was about to say and enjoy physically. It's getting a bit weird, but it's kind of like a way of immortalizing the efforts that everybody's put in to engage with this particular thing. I know I sound cryptic, but if no one's really unsure, if people are unsure of what I'm going on about, then start chatting away in the chat room by all means and talk to people. But it's that's part of that, and it's all part of my kind of dedication with you guys now. And this is all kind of it really with what I'm trying to say. It's really difficult to put it into words, and I've tried planning how I was going to say this today, and I was writing things down and stuff. But it's the reason why I'm doing the Civitas Universe, and the reason why I'm trying to make this, and what the plans that I've got for the series. It's because I want to give you guys something that you are so unbelievably proud of, that you've had a hand in building, that you've had a hand in creating. And using the resources that I have and using the enthusiasm that you've got, we can really get something off the ground. And you guys have supported me. I mean, incredibly supported me, especially in the Kickstarter and in everything else prior to that and everything else after that. So like, to have this built and to go beyond, exactly, Dan, to go beyond the community, we could you guys can look on your shelf when you're 50 years old and say to your kids, or say to your grandkids, or say to your nieces and nephews, or your friends, or whoever, say to them like, there's a story behind this particular box and this box and these books, and you can get them out and say like, I was involved in this, and this was something that was crazy, was bizarre, but somehow brought these really cool people together. And yeah, it's just cool. I think it's really, really cool. And I'm dedicating it all to you guys, really. And I love all of you, and I think it's going to be great. And I think that the plans that I've got for this and the determination that I have to make it happen, it all comes from my dedication to you guys for the years that you've put in to me. And when I say years, I know there's going to be a few people here in the Kickstarter that will be like, years? Didn't you do the Kickstarter like last year? And like, yeah, I did, but there's been other things before that that's led to the Kickstarter that other people in the chat room have been involved in. So it's cool. And I want you guys to like talk to each other and experience it more. And the Mysteries of Profundum, which we'll get onto later on, the Mysteries of Profundum is a love letter to you. It's a love letter to you, to all of you, and you'll see it when you play it. You'll see exactly why. And it's cool, man. It's cool. Years of my life. Yes. Nice one. Mother of Ferrets. Ferret Mother. There we go. Mother of Ferrets was your other username, wasn't it, I think? Okay, so let's have a little look at what I've done here. So, there we go. We've got a little thing that I made. This was the Backers Day last year, where these wonderful people, some of you are in the chat room, came along to Pinewood Studios and came to hang out with me, and that was really cool. And we did all sorts of weird and wonderful things. It was a really great day. Not to mention Secret Hitler, and also managing to kind of get ourselves onto the set of a particular feature film that hasn't come out yet, but will be coming out soon. So yeah, present goals. Let's talk about present goals first of all. So present goals right now for me is to basically finish the Mysteries of Profundum. I am 250,000 lines of code in. I've coded over 250,000 lines of code I've done so far. God, and I've got a few more animated sequences to finish. The Mysteries of Profundum has animated sequences. I've got a couple of tracks to finish, some music tracks to finish. I've got some Atmos to do, and I've got a few storylines to finish in there as well. At the moment, there's around 4 to 5 storylines inside the Mysteries of Profundum, and in certain points, you play 1 or 2 characters, and I'll talk about how it goes through. But there's several different storylines all at play, and you can go through different ones, and it's kind of, I mean, it's wicked. As I'm playtesting it, I'm like, yes, this is good. This is great. And you'll see for yourselves, guys. I can't wait to show you all. It's really cool. So present goals, finishing the game. I've managed to get a prototype of a box made for the game itself. I wanted to do like I want to find like a tape that holds like a USB inside, because the game itself looks more like a Commodore C64 game or a Spectrum game. If you're in the UK, you'll know what Spectrum is. If you're from America, you'll definitely know what the C64 is. That was huge back in the 80s and early 90s. So the tapes, they were tape-loaded games. So to get a tape with a USB that sticks out of it, and then to get that branded as the Mysteries of Profundum, and then to have that in like an old school big PC box, and then with a nice manual, and then maybe a fold-out map, and just a few other feelies, that would be quite cool. That's the kind of dream, and have that as like an additional thing that you can have, like the PC box. Exactly, I miss the PC boxes as well, so we'll build one. So you have the PC box that comes with it, so you can buy that. You can back the project and get one of those, or you can just get a digital download, which would be obviously a cheaper pledge, or whatever from there. the idea of the Kickstarter is to basically scale it so that you can basically pledge to get a copy of Civitas Nihilium, the physical copy, and they'll be limited in number. So around 150 to 200 of those will be available, and then there'll be an unlimited number of Mysteries of Profundum PC boxed games, so physical copies of the game. That'll be unlimited. There'll be a limited number of physical copies of the Mysteries of Profundum soundtrack. I think I'll be putting that onto cassette, so like translucent coloured cassettes. The guys that came to the Backers Day got the soundtrack for Civitas Nihilium on translucent cassettes as well. I'll probably do a little bit better on the branding. I'll try to anyway if I get good funding on this one. So that'll be like a nice little added extra, and then of course underneath that there'll be a whole bunch of digital stuff. The last Kickstarter was very confusing when it came to pledges and all that sort of stuff, and I don't like the idea of Kickstarters being a store, which is why I retracted me saying buy something just now. Kickstarter's not a shop. There's a lot of publishers out there that use Kickstarter as a testing ground to sell stuff before they've even built it, and that kind of makes sense. I get it, but like it should be about individuals like myself and others that are trying to build something from scratch, getting that realized. Not like people that make Arkham Horror and people that make like even the Jeremy Stonemeyer games. And I love him so much. I think he's a great game designer, but he can afford to get his games out and put them into warehouses and get them wholesaled now. He can do that. He doesn't need to do Kickstarter, but he does because it's zero risk. So it's understandable, but it kind of bugs me a little bit, as you can tell. But yeah, that's the kind of plan anyway for the present goal going into future plans. Past lessons learned, like I said, the way the Kickstarter was set up, I think it was a bit confusing. I also think that going in with the game nearly finished and not quite finished was a big mistake. I think that I should go in now doing it this way round by having the funding come in for Mysteries of Profundum and then having a limited run funding on Civitas Nihilium. That gives me more time to then work and more resources to then work on the next game, the City Builder, which we'll talk about as well in a minute. To work on that, I'll have a little bit more time and a little bit more money to work on that one, so I can get things finished before I put them on Kickstarter. That way I'm not dragging my heels as a producer trying to get stuff out the ground because things are finished and everyone's like waiting for their stuff to arrive. That was all just very stressful and not nice, and I don't want people to wait for stuff. It's not. I would prefer to be able to say you'll get your game by Christmas, and then you get your game by Christmas. That's what I would like to do. I know it's impossible, but if I can get the game finished, then that could be more realistic. Future plans, past lessons. Yeah, I think we've covered all of that now. So yeah, we'll just move on to the next little bit, which is a larger picture of the mossy pitch. There we go. Oh, I love you guys. It's great. So we've got Dan there in the top corner, got Mike, got Graham, got all the guys there outside the Mary Poppins Bridge. That was lovely. And then yeah, that's Havana. Literally two blocks up from where my office is right now, 2 or 3 blocks up from where my office is right now. And all of that was made out of wood, would you believe? Pretty fantastic. I actually just messaged Rayarch just now, crapping myself, being like, dude, I need some help, we need some help. I couldn't find this picture, and I needed this picture. And then I was like, oh yeah, between me and Rayarch, we've actually WhatsApped each other, and I've got this picture in our media. So I went back and found it, so that was good. So there we go. Right, so let's move on to talking about the individual games and what the plans are and what I'm trying to do. So we'll start with the Mysteries of Profundum. So here we go, the Mysteries of Profundum. A metaphysical text adventure for the 23rd century. Okay, so it's a little bit over, the screenshot here in the bottom left-hand corner, the side left-hand corner is a little bit oversaturated. That's not how it actually looks. I don't know why it's oversaturated, but this is how it is. So you get to explore a vast cyberpunk dystopian city. So you get to choose either Brother Tyler or Sister NJ. Only those two. And the reasons for that is because it wouldn't make thematical sense moving into the next game if we had loads and loads of players all playing as draconic members of the draconic brothers members of the Draconic Brotherhood, the cultists, it wouldn't make any sense going into the next game. So I had to bring it all back from the demo and just focus on the 2 players. Now, as we all know, if you aren't aware, Sister NJ is also mother of ferrets in the chat room here. She is a synthetic, and Brother Tyler is actually the ex-mayor of Civitas Nihilium. Now they've both joined the Draconic Brotherhood after what they witnessed during the events of Civitas Nihilium. So Sister NJ got pretty beaten up and pretty like duffed up and stuff by people, and she joined. She was a pleasure bot. Yes, she was a pleasure bot, and she got pushed around and put into a dark situation, and she was saved by the detective and rookie in Civitas Nihilium. But during that process, she got saved, manipulated, encouraged to move into the Draconic Brotherhood. It goes into that a little bit more detail in the actual game itself. When you play it, you start to realize certain things about Sister NJ's past, about what she's trying to achieve, and about like her future and how she mingles with other aspects or other synthetics within Nihilium. Synthetics are playing quite a large part in this now. They hadn't done before in Civitas Nihilium because it was mainly focused on the human aspect of it, but now we're going into a more synthetic aspect as well, and doing kind of linking up with transhumanism and seeing how synthetics could become more human and human could become more synthetic. So crossing those 2 things over is something that I find quite interesting, and it's very cyberpunky. So it kind of works for me. They have the synthetics in Civitas Nihilium are either utterly brain dead and completely autonomous, or they have empathy, they have pain, they have all the hallmarks of a human being. The pleasure bots definitely have those, and we meet a few of them in the Mysteries of Profundum. And going on to Brother Tyler, so Brother Tyler's experiences within the Mysteries of Profundum is very different because he's the ex-mayor, so he's known by people. So he's going around to different locations in Civitas Nihilium, and he's speaking to people from all different types of life, and they know who he is. Some of them do, some of them don't, but it's he discovers stuff that maybe Sister NJ doesn't discover, and the 2 worlds kind of separate into their own area. So it's an interesting kind of situation to be in, because you'll play Civitas Nihilium. The idea is that you'll play the game, and then when you start playing Mysteries of Profundum, you'll kind of go back to Civitas Nihilium and start reading the filler text a little bit more, because I know personally from playing Magic the Gathering and from playing other sort of games where you're dealing with highly thematic source, but a fairly focus driven mechanic. So like you're rolling on your engagement, you're rolling on your charisma, and you're not really paying attention to what the witnesses are saying. You're just sort of looking at the numbers that you have to achieve. And that's the same in Magic the Gathering. You look at what's happening with Magic, and you're doing that, and you're looking at the different things, and it's saying, oh, do this to make that person remove a card or do whatever. And you're not really focusing on stuff. So when you do bring it in and you start looking at that stuff, it will give you much more of a flavor as to what's going on in the world, and you have access to the map with Civitas Nihilium, and also to the stories that are leading up to the Mysteries of Profundum. So that's a kind of like premise for it, really. Now, just going through a few bits and bobs on here. So upgrade and collect incredible tech. Yep, so that's cool. So you get to upgrade your character. You have an infantry. You get to upgrade. You have reputation, charisma, analysis, and my mind always goes blank on this. It's so annoying. Reputation, obviously, ion charges and ether, and then you have analysis, engagement, and charisma. Yes, and you use those resources as wisely as you possibly can to kind of get yourself through certain situations. Journey into great labyrinths. Now there are some fairly simple locations in the Mysteries of Profundum. Some locations where you just have to talk to people and get different things out of them. In the demo, I think we went to Grem's brewery. Grem has a brewery, Gremlin Brewery, which is one of the first locations you go to after leaving the Draconic Warren, the Draconic Warrens of Enoch, which is your base, when you leave there, you go into the Gremlin Brewery and you have to convince Gremlin to start his own franchise, and that's a kind of start. That's a sort of starting aspect of dealing with people in Civitas Nihilium in the Mysteries of Profundum. But later on, you will find yourself in mazes, in giant mazes, like huge mazes that took me 3 weeks to flipping design, let alone code afterwards. And inside those mazes, there are all sorts of things going on. So there's twists in reality. In certain situations, you might even have to take glee. There are certain things that go on in this game that are cool. And like I say, it's a metaphysical text adventure. So there will be moments where new players that are fresh to the Civitas universe and fresh to everything that's come before it, where they'll be playing the Mysteries of Profundum and they'll be like, what the hell does this mean? And I'm hoping, and I will encourage this in the game, for them to seek out you guys, to find you guys, and to find what on earth is happening, how this message in this game makes any logical sense to what's actually happening in the real world. So they're going to have to use the real world in order to solve problems. They're going to have to reach out to people, look through historical records, and actually try and figure out what's going on. It's a really cool premise, I think, and I think it's something that's going to be really fun. And I think hopefully it will lead people down a path of discovery and adventure that they've not really felt before. I think that would be really, really cool. So Voyage into Dark and Mysterious Underworlds. Yeah, of course, it's a cyberpunk game. Socialize with corporate royalty and high society. One of my favorite aspects of any game, any game or any book or anything that caters on dystopian world. I always love the upper society, how they live, how ostentatious they are, what they're all about. And I had to get that into this game. I had to put it into Civitas Nihilium, so it's there. Study historical scripture. Yeah, we talked about that. Engage with cults. You are a cult member, so you're talking to your cult at all times. You're a member of the Draconic Brotherhood. After that, you then deal with the synthetics and the transhumans and junkies. You're then dealing with neo-humans, transhumans and punks. You're juggling with the maniacal megacorporations. You're stealing, swapping, or trading with black markets. You get lamp. You pay parking fines. Get lamp. Go on YouTube and type in Get Lamp text adventure documentary. They're every single Zork, which was the original text adventures. And I think, Dan, you and I share a fond memory of text adventures from back in the day. That's Crucial 2000 in the chat room, guys. He and I just chatted about it for quite a while, and it's the text adventures, like, they're crazy good. They're so much fun, and they're immersive, and you get in there so much. And like, Get Lamp is one of the things that you always kind of had to weirdly do. You had to always weirdly somehow, for some weird reason, get a lamp and use that lamp to do something. So in this game, you have to get a lamp at some point. Pay parking fines. Yeah, you got to pay parking fines. There's just a bit of a joke in there, just to let you guys know that this is going to be. It's a dark adventure. It's a dystopian adventure, but it's also light-hearted in parts. There's elements of comic relief in there, and of course featuring an original synth cyberpunk soundtrack. This is the thing I'm really proud of. After doing the soundtrack for Civitas Nihilium, I learnt so much doing it. I learnt so much about mastering afterwards. After we got the professional master done, I learnt so much about that process, so I knew what I needed to do right for this one, and melody composition and just all these different things. So that was one of the songs that you heard at the beginning there. There's going to be about 10 to 16 tracks. I say 10 to 16. There's 6 sort of Atmos tracks that are involved in there. I wanted to originally have a track for every location. So that would be over 55 tracks. So when I say every location, I mean, if there's a giant maze with loads of rooms in it, that's one location. There is one maze at the moment that has over 100 rooms and corridors and all that sort of stuff. That's counted as one location out of the 50 that I've mentioned, and there are other mazes in there as well. So this game's big. I've not timed myself playing through it yet because I haven't actually finished it. I've not finished the final 5th zone. Which I've got about 4 or 5 different locations in there to do. But when I do, I'm going to time it and see how long it will take me to get through it. Knowing where everything is going to be tricky though. But so it's going to be, I don't know. I have to send it out to playtesters and see what people think. But yeah. So let's carry on with this. So I've got the what do we got? Pay park, get land, pay park. Oh yeah, original soundtrack. Yeah. So soundtrack's coming along great. Really chuffed with it. It's going to be fun. That first one that you heard is a little taster, and I can't wait for you guys to hear more. Massive Maze is a unique combat system. Now Lorenzo is to blame for this combat system. Lorenzo, take a bow. I say to blame in a positive way, because Lorenzo invented the Viper. In our last Kickstarter, I was putting up upgrades, placing upgrades up during our updates. It was called the Triple T competition, and Lorenzo won one of them where he gave a rifle a particular name, and it's called the Viper. The Viper that we use in Civitas Nihilium is a 0.7. In this game is a 0.5 and a 1.0. And you can get a 0.5 and you can upgrade to a 1.0, and they do slightly different things, and they give you stronger stuff. Will there be a vinyl option for the next Kickstarter? I'll look at it, mate. Rayarch, yeah, I'll look at it. Vinyl pressing. Maybe a stretch goal. Maybe not. I'll have a look. See where we're at. I would love to do vinyl. That would be so dope. Vinyl instead of cassette, probably, right? Because we'll be able to like listen to them as well. Because I've got a record player, and I think lots of people have nowadays that like music anyway. That love music. They tend to have most of their favorite albums on vinyl. Yeah, I'll look at it, mate. I'll have a little look. I'll have a little gander and see if I can find something that makes sense. I see it's tricky because it's so expensive and you have to get a minimum order in. So it's like you have to hit, say like a minimum order for vinyl is like 150 or something like that, and each vinyl costs me 30 quid to make. Then I've got to get it delivered to me. Then I've got to post it out again. It's sending that vinyl up to like north of £40 easy, which in America at the moment is nearly $70, maybe more than $70. No, could be even teetering on $80. So it could be a bit crazy. So I don't know is the answer. I'll have a look and I'll see, and we'll see where we go from there. But I definitely don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm having to do loads and loads of stuff for very little in terms of resources, because I lost money on the last one through postage, and it was all crazy. But that's by and by. The game got made, so that's where it is. It is crazy, but I'll have a look at it, Rayarch. I'll have a look, man. I'll check it out and see what we can find. Yeah, I mean, it would be cool. It would be wicked. Could you imagine like a teal translucent vinyl? Oh my god, it'd be awesome. Okay, so yeah, a unique combat system. Yeah, we were talking about the combat system, animated sequences, and metaphysical experience like no other. So animated sequences are in there. Oh, $51.67. God, that's changed. Okay, all right, well, we'll see. Okay, let's have a little look. Okay, cool. So, yeah, the unique combat system, that's wicked. You have to pick your combat plan. So there's a paragraph of text saying like, jump over there, dive under this, pinpoint that bit, shoot over there, shoot this, do that, do whatever in the particular combat plan. And you have to kind of decipher where that fits in terms of your analysis, engagement, and charisma. So you can use charisma in combat to calm an assailant down, to talk them down, or to engage somebody else, to inspire someone else to get involved in the fight to help you. All those different things kind of come into play with regards to charisma. Analysis is all about analyzing weak points, trying to find areas where you could shoot, things that you could do that will help you in your thing. So if you're a character that's got, say, 10 analysis, 6 engagement, and 2 charisma, you would select the combat plan that you think fits in a hierarchical structure of analyze first, engage second, and then use your communication skills third, if you need to. And you need to find, the game is to find the right one within that, and then to match what it's asking for in your stats, and then you complete the combat, or you do a wound, or whatever it is, depending upon the actual enemy that you're engaging with. Can you build a team, or is it strictly solo? Any hired guns, Brotherhood peeps, etc.? Sort of. You have people coming with you to places at certain points, Rayarch, but it's not as open plan as the JRPGs, for example. But there is so charisma play into combat. Yeah, so I think I went into that just now. Maybe there's a little bit of a delay in the chat room there. But the charisma is all about, it's all about dealing with it, talking with different people. So having a chat to, like, bringing in someone to help you in a moment, or talking down an assailant and trying to calm that assailant down so they drop their weapon, for example. Multiplayer mode. What I was thinking for the Mysteries of Profundum for you guys was that we would do a share stream. So you share anyone that's playing the Mysteries of Profundum can share their stream through me, and I'll share it through this channel, and you guys can go through it, and then everyone can sort of play by committee through the chat room. I thought that would be quite cool. Doing a few of those would be quite fun, and see where you end up and stuff. So we'll get that scheduled, I think, once the game gets out. I think that'd be wicked. One thing, did the extra stat ever get put in, like corruption or something? Oh yes. So the corruption stat for the Mysteries of Profundum, that's definitely going in to Civitas 2230. The corruption aspect will be something that will play through into the RPG, which will be the third game in there. So I've definitely not thought about it. I've definitely not forgotten about corruption, but we're definitely going to go in on that one without a doubt. It's a brilliant idea and it will be wicked. So yeah, we'll definitely check that out. Okay, let's move on to the next little slide. So I think this is just a little bit of fun here. So family fun with the Mysteries of Profundum. So there's our favourite family there playing the Mysteries of Profundum on, I think that's a Dragon 32 or something like that. I think pretty old school computer from back in the day. It looks like it was before I was born as well. Serious question. Any plan to get over the fourth wall? Over the fourth wall. What do you mean, Lorenzo? Over the fourth wall? You mean the fourth wall, like knock on the screen and talk to people? Because maybe. Wait and see. So the next bit is some footage from the Mysteries of Profundum for you guys to see. It's muted at the moment because it has a lot of different things there. You've got the footage for this one doesn't have sound because the sound wasn't right. It was my voice instead of the voice that I had for the air car at the time. So I didn't want you to hear that because it would ruin it. It'd be kind of cool. Interact with the player in real life. Yes, Lorenzo. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, you're going to love it. Okay, so this is actual gameplay footage. Now, this is the screen. So you see those lines on the side there. This is the actual screen for your sort of console. So when you're watching it in 1080p, the game actually looks like this. So you have the little knobs on the side. It looks like an old school monitor. So if I make this larger so you guys can properly see it, and I'll fill the screen up so you can actually see it, how it would look in real life. So it would be like this. If you guys are all on full screen, you'll see. And I'll just turn off the... oh, maybe that's gone a bit too far up. Oh, I've got my layers all muddled up here, haven't I? Right, okay, so I'll just do that. I'll turn off that. There we go. Oh yeah, it's still not wide enough, is it? Maybe I can bring it down a little bit. Oh no, that's good. Yeah, that's it. So it's going to look like this. So this is what the game will look like as you're playing. You're going through. You can speed up the animation or you can skip ahead. It's pretty fun as you're playing it. Your stats are in the bottom right hand corner. You've got your ether above you there. You have your infantry there. This is your air car, the inside of your air car. That's the map of Civitas Nihilium that you get as a huge fold out A1 poster with the original Civitas Nihilium game. This is your air car going through the actual process of the delivery, and then this is the Zone 1 animation. Now there are animations for each ion zone within the game. An ion zone is a collection of locations. So there's also different aspects of the game as well with regards to, like, at a certain point in a maze it might start an animation sequence or something like that. I have used some of my original pixel art from Civitas Nihilium in there. There's also potentially a picture of Dr. Lorenzo and Dr. Anders at some point, maybe, but you're going to have to find that yourselves. Ooh, don't want to show you that one. That's another zone. That's another Ion Zone bit. Yeah, so it's all different bits and bobs that I've done there. So it's pretty cool. I'm proud of it. It's cool. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Mysteries of Profundum. And that will be coming out soon. And I hope you guys are excited, because I am. And I think it'll be great. And I hope you guys report back and tell me what you think's going to be going on. So as soon as I'm done, as soon as I finished it, I'm launching the Kickstarter, and that'll be it. Yeah, you were back at number 2. You were. The only soon I like is now. Yeah, fair enough. I'm stealing that, Lorenzo. I love that. I always hear my partner say soon to me, and I'm like, okay. So I'm going to jump straight in there and be like... All right, cool. I'm glad you guys like it. I hope it'll be like a nice nostalgic kind of experience, you know? Like you'll feel like you're kind of in the past, but you're dealing with the second dimension in their particular timeline in the future. I want it to be like a kind of weirdy, bizarre experience. Hey, Brosa. Good to see you. Brosa, your storyline in this is wonderful. Brosa has a particular storyline. So does Ray Arch. There's a whole lot of different things going on in here that you guys should jump in with and have a little look. I can't wait for you guys to play it. I cannot wait. It's going to be brill. Hey, Steam Queen. Cool. We got Natalie and Natasha in the chat room. We got the two Berry girls. Perfect. The Berry sisters are with us. Awesome. Good to see you guys. Good. I'm glad you can't wait for it. I've put my flipping heart and soul into it. Right. Okay. Moving on. So now the next game is going to be, how many endings are there? Oh yeah. So endings. There's going to be, I think there's going to be about five main endings and a couple of sub endings, depending on the choices that you make in the game. When I say sub endings, I mean like it's not game over, it's the game completed, but you haven't necessarily done the big task. So at some point you may decide to do something like migrate to a new Civitas because you've had enough. And that's the end of the game. So there's that kind of aspect to it. So, oh God, there's death endings. Oh yeah. There's loads of death in this. Oh my God. Dan, don't you worry. We've got rivers of acid. We've got all sorts of crap going on. It's pretty insane. I mean, it's a cyberpunk dystopia. You have to die, you know? So yeah, there's lots of death in it. And it will be frustrating at times. I'm looking forward to that bit. Oh, I'm really can't wait for you guys to check it out. Okay, cool. So moving on to the next game. So this is going to be next year. So this is what... Making the Mysteries of Profundum. I've already kind of finished it near enough. I've got a few more weeks left to work on it, and then it will be ready to go. The resources that I will be making from this, I will be using to build the next game. So when I move into the next game, I'm going to have the resources from the digital pledges from this, hopefully, fingers crossed, to get the next game over the line, so I can finish that before the Kickstarter begins for the third game, which will enable me to deliver the game quicker, on time, etc., etc. So this is the next one. So this is Civitas 2230. Build your own cyberpunk utopia. So what you're looking at right now is a player card, and this is a tabletop game. So this is a tabletop game, and it's the next game from the Mysteries of Profundum. So the Mysteries of Profundum will happen. You'll play the Mysteries of Profundum, and then you'll be playing this game with your friends. So up to 6 players all sat around a table with hexagons, and this is an example of a player mat. I've got the game round and a standard turn. I'll just make this a little bit larger so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So the idea is that you build your own cyberpunk utopia. Pretty damn cool. Let me just move that across a bit so we can look at the game round. So first player is decided based on the highest population. Each Civitas in turn order takes their standard round, and then each Civitas in turn order takes their ether bonuses for Patriot population, and then you have a CN expat bidding phase. So Civitas Nihilium expats are leaving. Civitas Nihilium is undergoing something called the Days of Decay, where patriots are leaving in their troves, and they're leaving to go to other civitases, and it's up to you in this game to take these patriots from Civitas Nihilium and entice them into your civitas, so they can bring with them policy. So it will all make sense when you sort of play it, and it won't be that difficult, I promise. Within that, you bid for those CN expats, and then the CN player takes half ion from the diffuse dump. So what I really, really, really liked about the Dune board game is that each house in the Dune tabletop board game has their own separate rules within the standard mechanic. Now, I think that's a really cool idea, and I love the idea of Civitas Nihilium starting large and quite populous, and then everybody else starting quite small, but Civitas Nihilium having to bail out the water because they're undergoing extreme strain, but they still have the ion monopoly. So the ion monopoly is that you've got Wilfred Talon at Talon Corp, who's mining ion on the moon, and he's selling that ion, he's colouring it different colours, and he's branding it different colours, and he's sending it to Civitas Tau, he's sending it to Civitas Nos Pax, he's sending it to Civitas Nook, and he's sending it to Civitas Theodore, and he's sending it to, is there any others I've missed out? Oh, and to Civitas McMurdo. So there's all these different civitases that are at play. They're all different colours, but they all run on ion charges. It just so happens that Talon's ion charges are teal, and Civitas Tau, FM 2030's ion charges that he gets from Wilfred Talon is red. So imagine a game where you have one player that controls all the resources. You have one player that literally gives players the resources at the beginning of the game, not the bank, the player. And you're against that player, and you're trying to become ion independent, whilst also trying to get population for your civitas, and whilst also trying to build a policy network that enables you to grow exponentially and rise up the League of Patriots. And you do that through enacting policies, and you get policies by bringing in people, because people bring ideas. So if you have unique people, so there'll be like 3 or 4 cards in the middle of the table, and everyone around the table will be bidding for those particular people. So say, for example, Elon Musk decided in this universe, decided to migrate somewhere else. He said, I want to go somewhere else. I want to take Tesla. I want to take SpaceX. I want to take it out of America, out of Civitas USA, and I want to go somewhere else. The country that offers me the most cool stuff will win, and I'll move there. So in this society, in this civilization, in this new universe where the old civilization, which is ours, has been completely replaced by this new city-state model where people compete for patriots and compete for people like Elon Musk, these neo-humans. There's a war going on between the presidents. It's a cold war that's about to boil over, and as you play this game, you'll feel that sense of trying to get the best people to come and join you, etc., whilst still building your technologies, building your city, getting more population, standard population, as well as getting special people and all that sort of stuff. So it's all kind of working in that kind of way that you're making that happen. Just to show you another president's thing. Oh, sorry, here we go. So let me go back. There we go. This is Civitas Nihiliums. So this is President Spook Pollux. This is his page. So at the beginning, this is like his president mat. So at the beginning of the game, at the end of Civitas Nihilium, no spoiler alerts, but somebody becomes the president of Civitas Nihilium, and in this particular game, the president will be this person here, and they have a different set of rules as well. So they start with, Civitas Nihilium starts with 2 reputation, 3 draft, 1 home hexes, 3 Civitas sectors, 1 policy point, 6 population, 0 CN expats, 8 ether, 2 material cubes, and 6 ion charges. Whereas FM 2030 Civitas Tau has 8 reputation, a lot more reputation, a lot less material cubes, no ether, and no ion charges. So there's all these different things at play where you have to get stuff. How many presidents are there? There's 6, because there's 6 players. Yeah. but I think there may be double, because I think I'm going to have Wilfred Talon as an option on this one as well. You flip the card for Civitas Nihilium and you have Wilfred Talon on the other side. So there'll be multiple presidents for different Civitases depending on who you choose. But if you only have one Civitas that only gives you one option, like Civitas Tau, for example, because thematically that wouldn't work, having someone else as the president, that wouldn't work within the storyline. You may get something extra with Civitas Tau, because Civitas Tau's been around a lot longer than the other Civitases anyway. It would work in that kind of dynamic. Still up in the air. Haven't figured it all out just yet. As you can see, if you zoom in close on the actual filler text, it's just filler text. Lirum, Sorum, Ipsum, all that kind of stuff. That's all I've kind of put in there for now. How will the end of the Mysteries of Profundum set up the next game? If they definitely do. So, the Mysteries of Profundum, every single game in the Civitas series will link together. It will link together in a way that will inspire the decisions you make in the setup of the next game. So when you finish playing Civitas Nihilium, for example, you go into the Mysteries of Profundum with a bit of an open plan because it's a text adventure that's spawning off the back of a solo player card game. You'll see that if you've played the last red crime, the one which says to be continued or to be concluded, I think it said to be concluded, you see that after that the Mysteries of Profundum is set up. So Civitas Nihilium is in ruin, Wilfred Talon has released his presidency, and he's decided to work on something in secret. The Mysteries of Profundum kicks off with the Draconic Brotherhood leaving Civitas Nihilium and going to found their own Civitas, and they're scouting Civitas Nihilium, trying to collect as much information as possible to give them as best possible footing as they venture into their next project, which is Civitas Theodore. So they want to have their own Civitas, and you spend the game building up as much information as you can to build your own Civitas. Now, if you end up in the game with Civitas Theodore doing something that enables a certain person to become president of Civitas Theodore, you then might want to play Civitas 2230 as that particular president in the next game, with all the backstory of the text adventure that you've had, of all the decisions that you made through that game playing into this. So it's a constant backstory generator that you have that's completely unique to other players, that you can bring to your game and play against other players either online or in person or here at Pinewood. If we have a Pinewoods Day where we all play together, that would be flipping cool. And you'll know that your president has a particular backstory that you've experienced in Mysteries of Profundum. That's the dream. Everything connects. So, cool question. Thanks for asking it. So yeah, as we go through this, so just to sort of point out, the other Civitases start behind. Each Civitas has their own special abilities. Each Civitas has their own set of mini rules. Players compete for Nihilium expats. Nihilium expats bring policies. Policies bring patriots. And ultimately, it's a story generator. So again, this will be a story generator just like the Mysteries of Profundum, just like Civitas Nihilium. And there's reason for that. So I just want to show you, this is a hex that you would place that would give you ether. So the ether bonuses are at the top. There's a CN expat in the left hand side, and there's the cost for bringing the hex into play on the right. So this would cost 6 ether and it would cost 5 ion charges. The next one is a kind of example of using the Fate D10. Not sure with this just yet, but it's a CRC, Citizen Registration Center hexagon, which will give you more people as you go through. Based on the reputation that you have, you will end up getting a higher bonus of people. The bonus of people is on the right hand side. The CN expat is on the left, and that gives a bonus to the particular hex if you have one set up there. The next one is Ion. This gives you Ion. Each hex will be coloured differently depending upon which Civitas you are. This one gives you Meeple, so this gives you extra Meeples. And where we go through, this gives you policies, and this gives you reputation. Now this is a Civitas sector, and this is another Civitas sector. So the Civitas sectors sit inside sit inside the building as you're building the hexes out. You have these little spaces that go in between, and they enable you to get materials that you can then use to upgrade your hexagons. This is a policy card, so it will be a square policy card. So this is called forced inflation. So take double the ether bonus for your patriot population during every population bonus phase. And this one is called forced suicide mission, where you discard one standard patriot to cancel any rival Civitas's policy. Pretty cool. Here's another policy where you have inspired industry. You add an extra upgrade block to this card. It may be used during this turn. So again, another upgrade block or material block. I've not quite decided what I'm going to be calling these things yet. And then agent on the inside. During the current round, you are able to look at an opponent's hand at any time and make notes on whatever you discover. Extend by an extra round if you put a CN expat on there. So that's kind of cool. So you can do that and like basically bugger people's gaming up, which I love. I think it's fun. Target a PR machine, so you may choose one standard patriot from any Civitas except Civitas Nihilium and add it to your CRC. Take a CN expat from any rival Civitas instead. So if you place a CN expat on this policy, you can then steal someone else's Civitas Nihilium expatriate and take that policy that was enacted from there as well. Civitas Berry, yes. Well, we are working with that. Folly. So here's a little Tabletopia impression of the game, how it would look. This is a very early prototype that I was looking at when I was building stuff. As you can see, the squares and things, they aren't as translucent as I wanted them to be. But you see how the President mats sit down and you kind of like build out. I think the table would be a little bit larger than this if you were playing with so many. But that would be quite cool. You could play it on Tabletopia with your pals, and we could all play together. We could all sit in Tabletopia and just play a game. It would be flipping brilliant. And then just see what happens from there. That's the Tabletopia. These are the blocks and the meeples that I've sourced. So they'll be translucent. They'll look sick. Spoken to my supplier. They're good to go with it. Everything's cool. So just got to design the thing and get it motoring. And get a price for it as well. This is a very early print up that I've done of the game. I actually posted this on Kickstarter as one of the last updates that I did previously, just showing you guys how it was set up. There's Civitas McMurdo up in the top there, the orange one. There's Civitas Taos. This is a 3-player game, and that's a 3-player game if you kind of building your cyberpunk dystopia as you play through, and you would be taking policies that come out and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's Civitas 2230. Moving on to the next bit. So imagine for a second that you play McMurdo. It's McMurdo. So imagine for a second that you're playing Civitas 2230 and something happens in the game that alters the world. You would take notes of that scenario if you wanted to, and you would then take them with you to the next game. So again, this game will continually build your individual thematic experience of the Civitas universe. And then we move on to, let me click onto it, the Civitas Universe RPG. Right. I love D&D. I love it. I love D&D 5th edition. I love RPGs. I've been obsessed with RPGs ever since I discovered Dungeons & Dragons many years ago. I absolutely love it. So we're going to be doing a Civitas Universe RPG, and it's a full sandbox. There'll be a sandbox guide for players owning all Civitas Universe games. So if you have a Civitas Universe game, every single one up until this game gets released, there'll be a sandbox guide that will show you how to build your universe for this RPG. Get it? So everything that you do, you can be like, you can play in, we can go and play in Dan's Civitas Universe, and then we can go and play in Folly's Civitas Universe. And we can do all these different things. We can go play in Rayarch's Civitas Universe. And we can go play in Pars's Civitas Universe. Everybody will have a different Civitas Universe that we've all kind of shaped based on our experiences of Civitas Nihilium, Mysteries of Profundum, and playing Civitas 2230. We'll have all this background will be our own story. We'll have our own story, and we can take that forward into this. So it's a full sandbox guide for all players owning all Civitas Universe games. A simple Fate D10 system featuring elements from 5e and Spire. I love Folly's a big RPG, I think. There's a brilliant system for D10s, just 10-sided dice in Spire the RPG, where you roll on different things and it just tells you what you can and can't do. Pretty simple, just like D&D, but without the extra layers of really confusing, oh, my weapon does this, then I've got to do this, or spells that are all different to this. I want to kind of condense it down to a much simpler system, but at the same time still make you feel like you have lots of customizable opportunities and customizable options. So a simple Fate D10 system featuring elements from 5e and Spire, loads of roll tables and oracle sheets to help you as a GM. So I really like Iron Sworn. If you guys don't know what Iron Sworn is an RPG that's been released for free. You can get it, you can download it from Drive-Thru RPG for free as a PDF, and it's great. It's a solo RPG, which is really interesting. For anyone that likes to kind of get down with a pen and paper, or if anybody likes playing those choose your own adventure books or anything like that, the solo player RPG stuff is wonderful. You sit there and you use a game master emulator, something like Mythic or something like that, or what I'll be talking about in a second, and you go through role systems and you build a system that you go with and you have your own experience. And I'm going to be taking some aspects from this because I think that you go into your own universe whenever you want. Don't have to get players together, and you can play in the Civitas Universe RPG on your own, and you won't need a game master, you won't need a dungeon master, you will just be playing it on your own with your own player, doing your own thing as your own character, encountering people, having conversations, doing stuff. It sounds crazy, but it can work, and I'm confident, really confident. I'm going to show you exactly how it can work now. For all of you guys that love mathematics out there, you'll see for yourself. It's pretty dense, but it's cool. There's going to be loads of table roll or oracle sheets to help the GM. You can play as a group with a GM, so you can play as a group with a dungeon master or game master, or play as a group without a game master, and you can use the roll tables and the emulator, or you can play totally solo. And one of the ideas that I had for this came from not Stars Without Number has loads of roll tables, so I'll be using lots of inspired stuff from Stars Without Number to get some good. They do this brilliant thing where you land on a planet and the planet just gets created right in front of you based on a series of a very few amount of rolls. Really flipping cool, really cool. So I'm going to be inspired by a lot of this sort of stuff. What else have we got on this? Oh yeah, Tales from the Loop. I'll get to Tales from the Loop in a second. The idea that I've got is that when you build a character in D&D, you kind of go through the process of getting the player's handbook and reading a bunch of a paragraph bit of text and going, okay, I'll choose that. Then turning over and going, okay, I'll choose this. And then going, okay, well, I'll probably have that and I'll probably have that. I like that. It's good. It's cool to have the confines of decision making within a set, within sort of set meta stuff. But how about we actually do character creation in a game? Like, we actually make it a game. We make it a solo player game. So you start playing as a player, a character, from your experience of, say, Mysteries of Profundum and Civitas Nihilium. Civitas 2230, you could play as the president, or you could play as a CN expat, no problem, but you'll have more of a personal experience from the two games before that, where you would dig in for your characters. Civitas 2230 is all about creating the political paradigm, the political situation and the scenario, how big certain Civitases are, how small certain Civitases are, who's really struggling, who's not really struggling. You know, you would set that up, you would take that data from your game of 2230, but you would take your personal aspect, your character stories from Mysteries of Profundum and your experience of Civitas Nihilium. You'll be like, oh, I wonder what happened to that witness. I'm going to be that person, or I'm going to be James D. Rayarch, the owner of Dialed New Girl. I'm going to be that guy. Yeah, I'm going to be that guy in the Civitas Universe RPG, where Civitas Nihilium is burnt to the ground because Lucy, who I played in Civitas 2230, destroyed Civitas Nihilium with a giant cannon, and now that's been nuked, so that doesn't exist anymore. So we're just going to play this Civitas RPG as Rayarch living outside the Civitases trying to get to a Civitas, trying to live as like a person that's there. So you've got this idea that you're trying to do stuff in this thing, right? The character creation aspect will be take a few little bits from those bits there, put them in together, and then start playing a solo RPG where you build your character. You find your weapons, you create upgrades, you build upgrades, you go to an upgrade store, you get an upgrade at a black market. Volta Aguta, the really dodgy upgrade guy, who Anders created, flipping brilliantly, great creation. He plays a great part in Mysteries of Profundum, has his own soundtrack. It's great. You could play him in this. You could play someone that gets upgraded by him in it. But you play a small little game before you get to the table, on your own, with a few roll tables and a few decision making things, and then you come to the table with that character, and that character can stay with you for as long as you want. You can upgrade that character, level that character up, take that character on different missions, go to other people's Civitas universes, because there are things in the Civitas universe that enable you to jump timelines and cross into different dimensions. The CTCG, something that is very prevalent in every game of Civitas Nihilium that I seem to play. That messes up timelines. It puts you in different situations. In the Mysteries of Profundum, when you use it, you could end up somewhere completely different on the other side of Civitas Nihilium, potentially in a different storyline. Like, the CTCG is messed up. So there's aspects for that. You could use that to help create your character. All sorts of things are going on here, so it's kind of cool. Your favourite card, Ray Archie? It is. Okay, so Tales from the Loop. So if you guys haven't checked out Tales from the Loop yet, the role-playing game, it's great. It's brilliant. You play as these, like, you get to pick a bunch of teenagers living in the 80s in this amazing, like, future that the 80s would have seen that never happened. So these giant mechs, and like kids can play with these mechs, like controlling them, and there's something underground that's called the Loop. There's a really cool show on Amazon that's all about it, and it's really cool. And you guys should check it out. It's really, really cool. It's great. And I'll be taking a few ideas from that as well, I think, because there's some bits in it that work brilliantly. I think they're really good. Oh, that was a bit of a mix up there. So yeah, that's, if I go to the next one here. So Spire, yes, here we go. So Spire is The City Must Fall. This has a really great D10 thing going on there. That's really cool. What's the show called? Tales from the Loop on Amazon Prime. Check it out. Tales from the Loop, really good. A bit dodgy acting here and there. You know, I work in film, so I kind of have to turn that part of my brain off when I watch some of this high subgenre stuff, because for some weird reason you get actors that don't believe what they're saying. This is something that really annoys me in sci-fi. I hope to God the new Dune doesn't have it, where an actor is saying something and you just know they don't really get it. They don't really believe it. It happened in the new Picard. Every now and then there was like a really rubbish actor, and I just couldn't connect with them because they weren't connecting with the story. So overlook some of that. I'm really critical, but overlook some of that and check it out. It's really worth it. It's great. In fact, it's pretty sick. Moving on from Spire. So this is the Fate chart, which is the cross-reference in Matrix. So I like the setting of Tales from the Loop, but not that everyone tells a story mechanic. Yeah, I know, Lorenzo. I know. It's worth it. I mean, yeah. When you say the settings, have you got the settings for, you're talking about the RPG, right? That everyone tells a story mechanic in the RPG. It's tricky. I like the setup. I like the way you have to set it up. It's cool. Anyway, moving on. So this is the Fate chart, the cross-reference in Matrix. I'm just going to make this larger so you can see it. So it's a bit bright. Sorry for screwing up everybody's eyes here. See if we can get it in the middle there. There we go. So how this works is you refer to this. I'll move my head out of the way as well. You refer to this whenever you have something, whenever you have like a question that you want to ask the game master. So if you want to ask the game master a certain question, you would say, like, what's the situation? What's the situation here? Is this person that I've just... Well, first of all, you would say, okay, I've approached a bar. Are there people in the bar? And you would be like, well, is that likely? I mean, it's a bar. It's 10 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock in the evening. It's a bar. I would say it's pretty likely that would be the case. So you would look down the near sure thing or a sure thing. I would say a sure thing. You would have to make that decision. So it's a bit of decision making. Along the bottom here is the chaos factor. And you would place, based on what happened in the previous turn, you would then do something on the chaos factor there and you would run that up. This is basically a GM emulator that enables you to decide things. It's based on the Mythic GM emulator, and I'm going to be using it an awful lot with the next game. Don't worry if it goes over your head right now. I'm going to make it super duper simple to understand. It is just basically dice rolling. Do you get between the number on the left, between the numbers on the left, or between the numbers on the right? If you get below, say, let's look at one particular area, for example. So let's use the scenario of, are there people in the bar? First of all, a sure thing, I would say. So you look at a sure thing here. The chaos factor, because it's the beginning of the scenario, would be on 5. At the end of a scene, if nothing really happened, there was no drama at the end of that scene, you move the chaos factor up 1. So it would go to 6. So let's say, for example, that nothing really happened in the last scene where we tied up our horse. I'm always referring back to D&D. Say, for example, we got out of our air car and a punk asked us for money so that he could go and buy some glee. And we didn't have any ether, so we didn't give him any money. And the punk didn't do anything. Just walked off. Because it was kind of likely that they would do something, but we rolled a high number and it didn't happen. So they moved on. That scene ends, we move into the bar, the chaos number goes up because nothing really happened. So then we look at what it is. So it's a sure thing that there's people in the bar. So we roll a dice. Our chaos factor's on 6. So if you go up 6 and go to a sure thing, you see 19, 95, and 100. 100 up there, if you look where it says cross-reference in Matrix. So if I just read this out. So you ask the question, are there guards in the next room? And if they do they have weapons? We're in a prison complex, so we decide to take this it's very likely. The chaos mark is currently at 4, so they roll anything on a 75 or below. There are guards in the room with weapons. Roll the first d10, and that gives us a 3. Roll the second d10, and that gives us a 4. So 34 in total. That's a yes. So there are guards next door, and then that's it. So you basically just roll up against the two things. If you roll even, then you have to do stuff on the back. And if you roll odd, then it's altered in a dramatic but cohesive way that fits in, but is somewhat different from the original plan. I know this doesn't sound like I'm making much sense, and I'm kind of rushing through it. But it's I know that it's a lot of numbers, and sometimes this makes people go, "What?" So we'll go into the nuts and bolts a little later. But that's that primarily. If I move to the next bit here, you'll see that we've got on here another bunch of roll tables. So an event focus table, random events, the event meaning for action and subject. So if you have a random event on a focus table, you would roll a D100, and it would be like a player character negative event would happen. And the player character negative event, you then roll on the meaning table, so you have the action and subject. So you then get, say, fight and environment. So it's a player character negative event where you fight in the environment, something like that. So this table is from the Mythic GM emulator. Pars, you can check it out. I think it's free to download. I bought the book, but it's a GM emulator that I'm going to be using I'm going to simplify it a little bit more, but I'm going to make it a little bit more relevant to the Civitas Universe. And you can use this as your GM. Or if you are the GM, you can use it as a way to kind of help you kind of like move your stories forward or generate random events and stuff like that. Basically, it's really good for world building and making everything happen. I used it very recently on a game that I played when I played Spire: The City Must Fall, and it works so well. Once you get your head around it, it's super simple, super easy. I'll do a really, 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 really simple step-by-step video on it before we launch the Kickstarter next year for the RPG, or the year after next for the RPG, and we'll go through it step by step. But this is basically a little bit of an insight to the nuts and bolts of what I'm trying to do with the RPG itself. So yeah, Simple Fate 10 Fate 10 Distant, simple Fate 10 system, loads of dice roll tables, play with a group and a GM, or a group and no GM, or play totally solo. If you're the type of person that doesn't like this kind of like dice rolling and like numbers and stuff, you can play it perfectly fine with a GM. It'll just be like playing D&D, and they'll say just, oh yeah, okay, you need a 10, roll it. Oh, I got a 10, great. Okay, well that happens. That moves to that moment. This happens. Move on, and that's it. And you build. Okay. Is it from a certain RPG, or did you make it? No, it's from an RPG called Mythic. They created this themselves, but I'm taking aspects of it and perfecting it to work for the Civitas Universe. It's open source, so it's totally fine to do it. And it's gonna be an emulator that people can use for other systems like 5e and stuff like that. What I want to do with it is I want to have it as a MySim GM emulator with an Archon select against Chaos Factor. So you would pick your Archon, so you could pick certain Archons that we may have experienced in our experience so far without me being too obvious. And those Archons would create a certain Chaos Factor within the RPG. Be quite cool, I think. Yeah, so that is it. I'm going to go back to the original catch-up image with the Mossy and just kind of like thank you guys, and just see if you guys got any more questions. Just throw them in there. I'd love to answer them. It's 9:20 now. I thought I'd be talking for a lot longer. We kind of gone right through it. I think I've been quite fast. Maybe I miss it, but where will the text game be available? So the text game is going to be available through Kickstarter. You'll get a digital download if you purchased it, if you backed the game to give you a digital download, or I'll be sending out USB cassettes with the branding in an original PC box. Will you play Cyberpunk 2077 when it drops? Yes. Yeah. Oh my god. When we did this event, what you're seeing down here on the image here with the guys that came to the Backers Day, that weekend it was a gaming show on at XL, and we went and sat in and watched the Cyberpunk thing. It was EGX, that was it. Yeah, it was sick. It was so good. It was awesome. Yeah, it was great. Finish Blade Runner. Dan, yes, let's do it. Should we play Blade Runner next weekend? Should we do Blade Runner next weekend? I'm well up for that. I've got a weekend free next weekend, so we should totally stream again. That was one of the questions that I was going to ask everybody. When do people want to stream again? I'm well up for doing it next weekend. Do you have a rough date for the Kickstarter go live date? Nope. Sorry, Ray Arch, I don't. I would love to have it for next weekend, but I don't. But we're going to play Blade Runner. Let's play Blade Runner, the Westwood Studios game. I've got it on GOG. We can stream it, no sweat. It'll be easy peasy lemon squeezy. We can play it from the very beginning again, but actually finish it. Also, don't forget Beyond a Steel Sky has been released too. All right. Let's do. Shall we play? What would everybody's feeling be? Yeah, there's a Blade Runner Game Pass. Yeah, and it's ace. It was made by the same guys that did Command and Conquer, and it's on GOG, and you can download it. It's cool. I think it's like 12 quid or something like that. It's pretty good. Shall we play? I was going to say, shall we play Beneath a Steel Sky on my Amiga emulator, and then play Beyond a Steel Sky? Should we do Blade Runner first and then play those two? I'd like to do some streaming because it's just fun. Or Zork. Yeah, or Zork. We could do Zork. I've got Zork as well. We could do Zork. Will there be a Brotherhood hoodie as a stretch goal? Yeah, man. Yeah. Leisure Suit Larry, yes. Oh, so funny. We could totally do that. That'd be wicked. That'd be so fun. I'm just going to see if I can get a little image up what I've got lying around here. Or is it? No, I don't think I can. Damn, I was going to show you an image that was quite cool, but I don't think I've got it. I'm not on my home computer. And it's not on the cloud. I hate it when that happens. Cool, guys. Is Folly still around by any chance? Is Folly in the chat room still? Can you make clothing that looks like the tools of the characters? Yes, I can. Oh, Folly's here. Great. Hooray. Good. I'm glad you're here. Okay, well, I'm going to sign off now, guys. I'm going to sign off with something a little bit special for Folly. just a little sneak peek. I can't guarantee that everybody's had this same treatment, but some people are in certain aspects of the Mysteries of Profundum a little bit more than others, and where others aren't in it so much, I've overcompensated with other things. So there's everybody gets a chance to be met, and you will get some goodies made up for the Civitas Universe. Don't you worry about that. We'll do something cool. So here we go. I'm going to sign off now, guys. Enjoy this. It's another track from the Mysteries of Profundum soundtrack, and I would love. I'm gonna stick around in the chat room, so I'll be chatting to you guys when it comes through. I'll leave my face out of this one, I think, and I love you all, and stay safe. Crazy.